It's Friday! You did it! Yay! I almost broke my camera. Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be learning about how to identify controlling ideas and topic sentences and topics and all of that good stuff. I'm going to have you read through an expository article before we move into our novel study. We're going to be reading Lord of the Flies, which is such a good book, which is why I'm having you read it. In order to identify the supplemental main readings, main ideas that we're going to be introducing alongside the novel, it's important to be able to figure out what the main idea of an article is. The way you do that is by identifying the topic sentence of some of the paragraphs in the article or the topic sentence found at the very beginning of the article itself. Remember, a topic sentence is comprised of two different components. You have the topic, which is like the 1 to 3 word that the article is about, that it keeps coming back to. And you have the controlling idea or main idea, which is a comment that the author is making about that topic, and that's what the rest of the article ends up being about. I'm going to include a secondary video for you to take a look at to help you identify the controlling idea and the topic and overall the topic sentence of an article that you come across. So watch the video and then answer the questions below. Then go ahead and listen to my recording of the article. You can read along or you can just read if you want. Maybe try to not just listen because reading is good for you. Anyway, happy Friday. Next week we're going to be reading Lord of the Flies. Let's do this.
Hey guys, welcome to this Myometrics video of our topics and main ideas. A topic is the word or phrase that everything in a text refers back to. See if you can guess the topic of these pictures. The topic is baseball. Now let's look for the topic in a text. Music can be an effective study tool. Some people say that music helps them to relax and to focus better. People listen to music for many other reasons as well. Music has been proven to produce serotonin, one of the so-called happiness hormones. The topic is music. A helpful way to identify the topic is to look for repeated words or phrases. The word music in this case was repeated in each sentence. The word may not be repeated in every sentence, but oftentimes there will be a pronoun that points us back to the topic. For instance, I like to listen to music when I study. Music calms me down. It helps me to focus. The first two sentences identify the topic, music, and the last sentence uses the pronoun it to refer back to the topic. Some paragraphs, however, are not as blatant. Some can be more tricky. Sometimes an author will use different words for the same thing. If you are studying for test day, Myometrics is the best way. This company specializes in preparing study material that help equip you with the knowledge you need and helping prevent test anxiety. Millions of students have used this resource to help them succeed on their exams. The topic is Myometrics. Even though the word is only stated once, the topic is repeated, but a different word is used to refer to the same thing. Once we've found the topic of the paragraph, we can then find the main idea. This may be a helpful way to help you identify the main idea. Topic plus main point about the topic equals main idea. Music can be an effective study tool. Some people say that it helps them to relax and to better focus on what they're learning. Some studies show that many students actually perform better when they listen to artists like Beethoven and Mozart while studying. The topic is music. The main point about the topic, music can be an effective study tool. Notice that topics are expressed as words or phrases, but main ideas are expressed in sentences. Physical activity provides innumerable benefits. Consistent exercise alleviates symptoms of depression. Studies show that consistent exercise results in not only less time to fall asleep in sounder sleep cycles, but also less daytime drowsiness. Additionally, an improved cardiovascular system and increased endorphins stimulate the mind for more creative thoughts to flow. The topic is physical activity. The main idea is physical activity provides innumerable benefits. In many paragraphs, the first sentence states the main idea. When the author states the main idea, it's called an explicit main idea. But the main idea is not always in the first sentence. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's just a leaf. What does that mean? It's autumn. Autumn or fall marks the transition from summer to winter. There are several different ways to recognize this transition without looking at the calendar. For instance, if the leaves start to change colors and fall off, this is a good marker that it is autumn. The temperature in many parts of the world will also start to drop. In this paragraph, the first sentence is not the main idea. So let's look at the topic. We know that the topic is autumn because it is repeated and everything is referring back to it. Autumn or fall marks the transition from summer to winter is the main idea. This sentence includes the topic and it also makes a main point about the topic. It may seem a little silly that the sentence that states the main idea is called the topic sentence, but that's just the way it is. Always remember to find the main idea, figure out the topic first, then look for a sentence that states a main point about the topic. Like the formula I gave you earlier, topic plus main point about the topic equals main idea. I hope this was helpful. For further help, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking right here. See you next time!
Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Mel. Let's go ahead and read through this article together, shall we? What Makes Good People Do Bad Things by Melissa Didman. As the story goes, Dr. Jekyll uses a chemical to turn into his evil alter ego, Dr. Hyde. In real life, however, no chemical may be needed. Instead, just the right dose of certain social situations can transform ordinarily good people into evildoers, as was the case with Iraqi prisoner abusers at Abu Ghraib, argued former APA President Philip G. Zimbardo, Ph.D., in a presidential track program during APA's 2004 annual convention in Honolulu. Indeed, Zimbardo, an emeritus psychology professor at Stanford University, highlighted how this Dr. Hyde transformation occurred among U.S. soldiers at Abu Ghraib by presenting classic psychology research on situational effects on human behavior. Zimbardo, who will be an expert witness for several of the U.S. soldiers on trial, argued that situations pull people to act in ways they never thought imaginable. That line between good and evil is permeable, Zimbardo said. Any of us can move across it. I argue that we all have the capacity for love and evil, to be Mother Teresa, to be Hitler or Saddam Hussein. It's the situation that brings us out. Seduced into evil. In fact, the classic electric shock experiment by social psychologist Stanley Milgram, Ph.D., showed that when given an order by somebody in authority, people would deliver what they believed to be extreme levels of electric shock to other study participants who answered questions incorrectly. Zimbardo said the experiment provides several lessons about how situations can foster evil. The bullet points are as follows. Provide people with an ideology to justify beliefs for actions. Make people take a small step first towards a harmful act with a minor, trivial action and then gradually increase those small actions. Make those in charge seem like a just authority. Transform a once compassionate leader into a dictatorial figure. Provide people with vague and ever-changing rules. Relabel the situation's actors and their actions to legitimize the ideology. Provide people with social models of compliance. Allow dissent, but only if people continue to apply with orders. Make exiting the situation difficult. Particularly notable, Zimbardo said, is that people are seduced into evil by dehumanizing and labeling others. They semantically change their perception of victims, of the evil act, and change the relationship of the aggressor to their aggression. So killing or hurting becomes the same as helping, he said. For example, in a 1975 experiment by psychologist Albert Bandura, Ph.D., College students were told they'd work with students from another school on a group task. In one condition, they overheard an assistant calling the other students animals, and in another condition, nice. Bandura found students were more apt to deliver what they believed were increased levels of electric shock to the other students if they had heard them called animals. People's aggression can also increase when they feel anonymous. For example, if they wear a uniform, hood, or mask, Zimbardo said. You minimalize social responsibility, he explained. Nobody knows who you are, so therefore you are not individually liable. There's also a group effect when all of you are masked. It provides a fear in other people because they can't see you, and you lose your humanity. For example, an experiment in 1974 by Harvard anthropologist John Watson evaluated 23 cultures to determine whether warriors who changed their appearance, such as with war paint or masks, treated their victims differently. As it turns out, 80% of warriors in these cultures were found to be more destructive, for example, killing, torturing, or mutilating their victims, than unpainted or unmasked warriors. What's more, a person's anonymity can be induced by acting in an anonymity-conferring environment that adds to the pleasure of destruction, vandalism, and the power of being in control, Zimbardo noted. It's not just seeing people hurt, it's doing things that you have a sense that you are controlling the behavior of others in the way you typically don't, Zimbardo said. Zimbardo noticed that in his own simulated jail experiment in 1971, the Stanford Prison Experiment, which we read just a couple of days ago, in which college students played the roles of prisoners or guards, and the guards became brutal and abusive towards prisoners after just 6 days, leading Zimbardo to prematurely end the experiment. The experiment showed that institutional forces and peer pressure led normal student volunteer guards to disregard the potential harm of their actions on the other student prisoners. If you don't need a motive, Zimbardo said, all you really need is a situation that facilitates moving across that line of good and evil. Prison abuses. The same social psychological processes, de-individualization, anonymity of place, dehumanization, role-playing and social modeling, moral disengagement and group conformity that acted in the Stanford Prison Experiment were at play in Abu Ghraib, Zimbardo argued. So, is it a few bad apples that spoil a barrel? That's what we want to believe, that we can never be a bad apple, Zimbardo said. We're the good ones in the barrel. But people can be influenced regardless of their intention to resist, he said. As such, the Abu Ghraib soldiers' mental state, such as stress, fear, boredom, and heat and exhaustion, coupled with no supervision, no training, and no accountability, may have further contributed to their evil actions, he noted. I argue situational forces dominate most of us at various times in our lives, Zimbardo said. Even though we'd all like to believe we're each that singular hero who can resist those powerful external pressures, like Joe Darby, the whistleblowing hero of the Abu Ghraib prison. All right, at this time, go ahead and answer some of the comprehension questions about this article. A lot of them are multiple choice for today. And don't forget to answer the discussion question and post your answer to that discussion question on our discussion board. It's going to be your exit ticket for the day.